So the first 10 rounds of the 2021 Major League Baseball draft are completed. In today's video, I'm going to look at the biggest steals of the MLB draft. I mean, when we talk about the first 10 rounds of picks so far, we really just, after 5 probably rounds, that's all the players that you will recognize. That's pretty obvious there. And so in today's video, I'm going to look at the biggest steals of the 2021 Major League Baseball draft. I've got 14 players on this list, and there is more high schoolers than college players on here, and that's just for the simple reason that high school players have a lot more upside than these college players most of the time, and it stays the same in this draft. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do in today's video. But before I get into this video, 92% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed. So go ahead and get your life together and hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like on this video. Subscribe, turn notifications, and leave a like. And let's go ahead and get into this video with the biggest steals of the 2021 Major League Baseball draft. We're starting off early in the draft for the first one. At number 4 overall, the Boston Red Sox got Marcelo Meyer with their 4th pick. This was not a pick that was expected here, and it was not expected that Marcelo Meyer would fall to the 4th overall selection either. Marcelo Meyer was the consensus number 1 pick for quite a while in these mock drafts, and he fell to number 4 on draft day. In 2021, his stats were great at East Lake High School in California. For his senior season, he had a .392 batting average, 14 home runs, and 45 RBIs. He showed that power in his senior season like we've never seen before with Marcelo. And that really put him onto the scene as one of those players that could be drafted 1st overall in this 2021 Major League Baseball draft. Gets a lot of comparisons to Corey Seager. That's his comparison as of right now. And when you get an opportunity, like with the Red Sox, you get an opportunity to take Marcelo Meyer at number 4 overall when he was the consensus number 1 pick, and then a lot of people's big boards, the number 1 pick, you have got to take him. And the Red Sox get an absolute steal here, getting Marcelo Meyer from East Lake High School in California. Next up, the next one I've got is at number 10, the New York Mets got Kumar Rocker. Kumar Rocker fell to them at number 10. We did not expect this one at all, but Kumar Rocker fell to the Mets at 10, and this is a steal. This is an absolute steal here. He had a 14-4 record in 2021 with a 2.73 ERA and a 0.93 WHIP. He had a really good year. Yes, he didn't pitch great versus Mississippi State in the College World Series, Game 3. But still, Kumar Rocker is a very, very good pick at number 10, especially when this guy was the consistent number 1 overall pick for quite a while. He has been the consensus number 1 for at least a year to 2 now. And for his scouting grades, he's a fastball slider type pitcher. And he's got pretty good control as well. 60 curveball, 50 changeup, 60 overall. When I was watching the Game 3 of the College World Series, I really saw that he was kind of losing hitters in the counts. He got him 0-2, and then he just kind of lost him in the counts. And he will get better at that because he will get pulled in the minor leagues, and that won't be good for him. But Kumar Rocker is an absolute steal of a pick at number 10 overall here, especially with how good of a season he did have at Vanderbilt. And for the Mets, this makes a ton of sense. Any team at number 10 probably would have selected him. Now going on to number 18, the Miami Marlins selected Khalil Watson with the 18th pick. He had a great 2021 in a shortened season in his senior season at Wake Forest High School in North Carolina. He had a .513 batting average, 6 home runs, and 14 RBIs. This was an absolute steal of a pick for a guy that we thought was going to go number 5 or top 5. Like, we did not think that he would fall this much. But Khalil Watson fell this much, which I never saw happening. But he has good power along with a good hit tool as well. And his fielding is pretty good at shortstop, and he'll probably stay at shortstop for the remainder of his career. Next up in the compensation round with the 33rd pick, the Detroit Tigers got Ty Madden out of the University of Texas. This is a good pick. Ty Madden kind of compares to me as a Kevin Gausman type player. With Ty Madden, there is a little bit of a risk. We don't know really if he's going to be a starter, reliever, really what he's going to be. I see him as more of a starter, but I can see the Kevin Gausman in Ty Madden. He's got a 60 fastball, 60 slider, 55 control, 50 curveball, 55 changeup, and a 55 overall. You always like to see that control at 55 right there. That's always good to see. And this is a very, very good pick by Detroit here. Detroit gets an absolute steal with Ty-Man here. He's just what they call a workhorse. He's going to eat up a lot of innings, and that's exactly what you need. That's exactly what you want in your rotation, just a guy that can eat up innings and actually be good while he eats up those innings. He in his 2021 season at the University of Texas had a 7-5 record with a 2.45 ERA and a WHIP of 1.04. So this is an absolute steal of a pick for the Tigers. You get another rotation guy for the future, as if they don't already have enough, though. Next steal in the draft here, we are going to go all the way to the number 37 pick, where the Pittsburgh Pirates selected Anthony Salamato with the first pick in the second round out of Bishop Estaines High School in New Jersey. This is a very, very risky pick. It is a steal here getting him in the second round for a guy that was projected to go in the first round, but it still has some risk to it a lot. This guy could have went top 15 in the draft. That's why it is a good pick. But it still has a ton of risk with the really weird delivery, not to mention that there's a ton of risk already with a prep arm like this, and there's a ton of risk with this pick. But also, if he turns into a Mackenzie Gore or Madison Bumgarner, which is where his comparisons are, then they're going to be feeling really good about this pick in the second round. Now, there is no saying whether he will be, but there's a possibility. And if the Pirates develop him right, then they're going to have a really, really good pick here. He's got a 55 fastball, 50 changeup, 50 overall, 55 slider, and a 55 control. If they can develop him well, then they're going to be feeling really, really good about this pick. And for Anthony Salamacho, if you were wondering about the stats, I was looking on Max Preps, cannot find them. So that's interesting. But the next steal of the draft, in my opinion, we go all the way to the number 54 pick, where the St. Louis Cardinals selected Joshua Baez in the second round out of Dexter Southfield High School in Massachusetts. This is a good pick, especially considering how great the Cardinals are at developing talent. And this is what makes it even better of a pick here. Joshua Baez just likes to swing at everything. That's his big problem. And if he can cut down on not swinging at everything, he has a ton of power with him. It's just the fact that he has got to stop swinging at everything, and has a great arm in the outfield as well, with a 70 arm out of 80 possible for that. And he's got a 60 power, 55 hit or 45 hit, 50 run, 50 field, 50 overall. And I kind of compare him kind of to a right-handed Joey Gallo, just for the simple reason that he is kind of like a two-outcome hitter. Just he doesn't walk as much, obviously, as Joey Gallo does. But still, I think that Joey Gallo is probably the most reasonable comparison for him. Next pick that I think was a steal, we head all the way just 3 picks later to the Chicago White Sox in the second round, getting Wes Catherine out of Desert Mountain High School in Arizona. This is a very good pick here. Wes Catherine in the second round is a guy who was probably going to go in the first round, but instead went late second round to this team. And I think that the White Sox draft has been pretty good so far, getting Colson Montgomery in the first round as well. I thought that was a good pick. They're getting some high school infielders here. He's got a 55 hit, 45 run, 50 field, 45 power, 60 arm, and a 50 overall. Those are his grades on MLB Pipeline. But Wes Catherine, I think, was just a little bit out of my rankings out of the first round. I think that he was going to be an early compensation round pick, which is basically another first round pick. Cath actually played shortstop in high school, but most scouts see him moving to third base at the next level. So he has a plus arm, and so maybe he does move to third base so he can play third base, shortstop, kind of similar to Colson Montgomery, who they drafted in the first round. Next up, our next steal of the draft, we are going to stay in the second round. 3 picks later, maybe this is a little biased right here, but the Atlanta Braves selecting Spencer Shellman in the second round from Nebraska University is a very, very good pick. Scouts are debating whether he's a shortstop or whether he's a pitcher for the future. I think that he's a pitcher for the future. He he is consistent. He always is hitting the strike zone. He's always hitting his spots when he's pitching. He was hitting for like a 280 batting average at Nebraska too, which you're not going to get both. You're probably just going to get one. But Spencer Schoenbach was the guy that I thought was probably going to be the first rounder for the Braves, not the second rounder for the Braves. And this is a very, very good pick to get him here. So if we look at his hitting grades, he's got a 50 hit, 50 run, 45 field, obviously 70 arm. That's where the pitching comes from. 50 power, 45 overall. For the pitching, 60 fastball, 55 changeup, 50 overall player, and a 60 slider and a 55 control. You like to see the 55 control. And the 60 slider as well. He's got three good pitches as well with a fastball, slider, and changeup. I think that he's a pitcher. He can play first base as well. He's very versatile, and this is a very, very good pick regardless of whether he's a right-hander or a shortstop. I'm pretty sure that the Braves selected a shortstop in the next round. Next steal of the draft, we are going to head to compensation round B in the second round. At number 67 overall, the Arizona Diamondbacks selected Adrian Del Castilla. This was a guy that had some first-round hype, but this guy coming into the year was possibly a number one overall pick. But scouts started to get a little concerned with him, especially the defense. The hitting has always been good with Adrian Del Castilla. It's just been the hitting or the fielding, excuse me. The fielding has been the big problem with him. In 2018, the White Sox drafted him in the 36th round, but instead he went to the University of Miami, which this year didn't really help his draft stock any. He's got a 55 hit, 30 run, 45 field, 45 power, 50 arm, 50 overall. This guy's going to be a good hitter. It's just a matter of the fielding. And you would think with some major league guys there that can help develop him, that this would be a very, very good pick that could possibly really turn into something. And we see as a pretty big steal. Actually I forgot one. But at number 40, the Boston Red Sox with their second round pick got Judd Feyman out of the University of Florida in the second round. This is a very, very good pick. Judd Feheman is another guy that was one of those top guys coming into this year, but obviously some guys got ahead of him, and he didn't have a great season at Florida. But he's got a 45 hit, 55 run, 50 field, 60 power, 50 arm, and a 50 overall player. If we look at his stats last year at Florida, here, he had a really good season last year at Florida. He had a 249 batting average, 20 home runs, and 46 RBIs. And this is just an absolute steal of a pick here because, yes, I guess you could say the average is a little bit low, but who cares with that type of power? His power took a big rise this year, going from 2 home runs last year to all the way to 20 home runs this year. If we look at my draft big board, I had Judd Feyman. I had him at 27, so I felt that he was a first rounder, definitely, and he could even be higher. And this guy's super underrated too. I think that this pick is going to really be good for Boston. Their first and second round picks are on this list, so Boston's doing some pretty good job of drafting so far. Now we're going to move on to the number 72, where the Pirates selected Bubba Chandler in the third round out of North Akanu High School in Georgia. Now, this is a risky pick considering that he is committed to Clemson as a quarterback, but still, if he does decide to go to the Pirates, then this is a very, very good pick. And I like the three picks in the first 3 rounds for the Pirates. You've got Bubba Chandler, you've got Anthony Salamacho, and you've got Henry Davis. Those are some very, very good draft picks right there. Now, Bubba Chandler was a guy that I had on my big board as ranked number 15. And obviously the concerns of him being a quarterback at Clemson is why he fell this far in the draft. But this still is a steal to get him in the third round, where I do see him as a pitcher for the future. But I thought that he was going to go in the first round, and I thought that maybe he could either go top 10 in the first round, and I don't even think that would have been that crazy. But wow, him falling to the third round is a fantastic pick. Next up at number 86, we're going to go to the Milwaukee Brewers, where they got Alex Benellas. He was a teammate of Henry Davis's at Louisville University. In the third round, this is a very, very good pick to get Alex Benellas, I think is how you pronounce his name. But regardless, he's an absolute steal, Alex Benellas is, here in the second round. But Alex Benellas, he's good at fielding, very, very good fielding-wise, where he could play third base or first base. We don't really know, but the versatility, you've got to like the versatility there. He bats left-handed, 45 hit, 45 run, 45 field, 55 power, 50 arm, and a 50 overall player. Obviously, he's going to have a pretty big arm there, being able to play third base. He was actually drafted in the 35th round in the 2018 draft by the Washington Nationals. But Alex Benellas had a very good year at Louisville last year. I'm trying to pull up his stats here. But he had 19 home runs, 63 RBIs, and a 256 batting average. Another steal. Like, only in 2 games he didn't play too well in 2020, but it's 2 games. In 2019, he showed flashes of this as well with a 291 batting average, 14 home runs, and 59 RBIs, but he was even better this year with Louisville. This is a very, very good pick by Milwaukee in the third round. One more pick. We've got the net. We just move on one more pick to the Houston Astros at number 87, where they got Tyler Whitaker out of Bishop Gorman High School in Nevada in the third round. Now, they did not have a first or second round pick here, but they really hit on the pick that they got in the third round. This guy is a first rounder, basically, in the third round. Tyler Whitaker is. This is a very, very good pick. He's a 6'4" outfielder. Obviously, there is some risk with the high school players. But he has got a 45 hit, 50 run, 50 field, 55 power, 60 arm, and a 50 overall player. And we know another guy that came from Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, Nevada, Joey Gallo. And there actually hasn't been a player drafted since him before Tyler Whitaker was drafted in the third round. He just recently moved from the infield to the outfield and has plus raw power, which is going to help as well. He was initially a shortstop. Then Whitaker moved to third for Bishop Gorman and then to an outfield corner. So he can play a lot of different positions, and he can be kind of a utility guy, maybe like a Marwin Gonzalez who was on the Astros back in 2017. Obviously, we don't want to talk too much about the 2017 Astros and their cheating stuff, but still, he could compare to a guy like maybe Marwin Gonzalez, where he could play like everywhere, but they think that he's an outfielder as of right now. But it is good that he's versatile and can play a lot of different positions. Next up at the last one on this list, I think, yes, at the 123rd pick, the Chicago Cubs got Christian Franklin in the fourth round out of Arkansas University. This is a steal here, an absolute steal here to get Christian Franklin in the fourth round. Franklin is just one of those players that just never strikes out. That's kind of what he does. He never strikes out and hits for power as well, which you usually don't see with those kind of guys that really never strike out. He has 13 home runs, 54 RBIs, and a 274 batting average with a 420 on base percentage, 544 slugging percentage last year, and a 9 at 64 on base percentage last year at Arkansas. There have been some good other Arkansas first-round picks recently, and Andrew Benintendi, Heston Kjerstad back in 2020. Both pretty high picks. And Christian Franklin is a guy that just never strikes out and is always going to be in that lineup every day, which is a good thing. And he's going to be in the lineup every day and is going to be on that roster. And he fits pretty well with the Cubs, too. They already have Brennan Davis as a future outfielder in that. But they needed an outfielder, too. And getting him in the fourth round is a phenomenal pick. Not a reach at all, a phenomenal pick. He wasn't going to go in the first round, But this guy could have went possibly late second roundish, but instead he went all the way in the fourth round. This is a very, very good pick here, getting Christian Franklin. So yeah, that is going to be the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications, because like I said, 92% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed. So go ahead, get your life together, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like. Thank you for watching, and peace.